Now, I don't recommend people to just not give a fuck for the sake of not giving a fuck. All right? Because whenever I talk about not giving a fuck, what I'm naturally referring to is just having low intention, high attachment. That's pretty much the whole point of not giving a fuck, is developing that mentality where you have high intention, you want to be with this person, right? But also you have low attachment, which is, it's almost like a friend telling you, let's go to a party, and you're excited. And you're in your mind, you're saying, oh, okay, the concept of a party is good. And you're saying to yourself, I cannot wait to go to the party. But then your friend says, actually, there's not going to be a party. And then all of a sudden, you feel a letdown, but it doesn't last for too long. Or better yet, you're on your way to a certain country, and you're excited. But then they tell you the flight is canceled. And you're disappointed, but you're able to move on. That's what I'm talking about. High intention, high attachment is you have high intention, you get disappointed, and you're not able to move on. All right. So that's to me what it means to not give a fuck. All right. But it also means to just show some coldness from time to time, and how this affects a person's mind, particularly how it affects a man's mind. All right. So we're going to talk about it in 3 different levels: how it affects the brain, but also we're going to talk about what different parts of their lives creates that type of trigger, right? So we're going to talk about how somebody's childhood affects the way they react to somebody not caring that much, how their past relationships, how their expectations, how all of those things create trigger points that, by you displaying that you don't care, creates that type of reaction where they pretty much lose complete control over how they behave. Naturally, the brain, when it gets romantically rejected, it stimulates a certain part of the person's brain when they get romantically rejected, and that part of the brain that gets hurt is associated with motivation, aggression, reward, addictions, cravings, which is pretty much your amygdala, which is your reptilian brain, right? And whenever that part of the brain gets activated, or it receives a signal from its environment that says it's in pain, that says it's your survival is at risk, which essentially means somebody rejected you. That also means your survival is at risk, evolutionarily speaking. It pretty much short circuits your frontal cortex, because what happens is this: you receive, for example, let's just say you see a lion, right? A lion, you turn around and a lion is literally about to bite your fucking head off, right? There's a moment when you see it, you know what's going on, but you can't process what's going on. You know what's going on because your brain literally says, without words, it says this is a dangerous situation. And it fills your body up with fear, right? And you have no time to process it. The reason why you have no time to process it is because, one, the signal goes from the thalamus, which is where the part of the brain I believe that receives sensory information, to the amygdala. There's literally a quote unquote wire that goes directly to the amygdala. And after that signal is sent, then it reaches the frontal cortex, which is pretty much the part of the brain that analyzes and says, oh my God, that was crazy, right? But you don't have time for it. But what happens is that the amygdala pretty much floods your whole brain with fear. And that part of the brain that allows you to process things verbally in your mind pretty much gets short-circuited. So a person whose amygdala is activated loses control. They have no control. They start acting in ways that are irrational, because that part of the brain, their rational self, is so flooded with emotion that it cannot think straight. Right, so emotional responses first come from the amygdala, and then our rational thoughts take over. But if the emotional response is very intense, this person does not have time to actually think, or better yet, this person will not be thinking before they act. And so this person will do a lot of needy things. This person will chase even though you don't give a fuck. And you want to know why? Because I'm going to explain to you different reasons why this person cannot think straight at you not giving a fuck about them for the most part. But sometimes those signals from the amygdala are so intense that they completely possess your behavior. It's like when they call it crimes of passions, right? Crimes of passions are pretty much crimes when you just anger aggression takes over so much that you do something you normally wouldn't do. Or when people say they blacked out of anger, they blacked out because they got so angry. It's because the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that produces aggression, is so fucking insane, and it has so much power over you that your rational mind cannot even control it. And that's the epitome of a human that transcends its humanity. It's somebody who's able to control their emotions. So the amygdala's extensive web of neural connections allows it, during an emotional emergency like a lion about to bite your head off, to capture and drive much of the rest of the brain, including the rational mind, right? And so that's why when you activate that feeling of neediness, the feeling of you getting rejected, the feeling of maybe this person doesn't like me as much, they start acting out of character. So what are the things that trigger these types of behavior? One, childhood, right? Being romantically rejected can be a familiar feeling that mirrors one's childhood, leading that person to seek out more of the same. Feelings and emotions that are intense for some reason are memories of the past. For example, don't you notice that for some reason, when somebody rejects you, you have this weird need to get their validation? And some people might ask themselves, why is it that I feel this need to get validated, even though I know it's not correct? You know, I didn't have a bad childhood. I don't remember nothing bad. But what you do remember is the emotional experience. You see, the part of the brain that stores memories where you can consciously remember them is not the same part of the brain that was mostly fully activated as a child when you were perceiving the world and you weren't able to formulate thought. The way that you still remember things from when you were a baby or even a toddler, you remember it, but not the way you remember thoughts today. You remember them as a form of an emotion, almost like a fossil, an emotional imprint that you consistently feel this discontent. You consistently feel this weird depression that comes over you, and you ask yourself, what's the source of this? What you really are doing is having another form of remembering. It's an emotional imprint that you remember through feeling, because as a child, you really didn't experience the world through words. You experienced the world through images and emotions, right? And so you remember your past, your neglect, you not receiving love, not through a conscious remembrance, but through a pre-verbal way, feeling it. You feel. And so when somebody rejects you, it reminds you of the moment when your needs weren't met as a child, through the intense feeling. And those intense feelings come from your amygdala. That's where it comes from. And that's why you just lose control. You start acting out of character. You start acting super needy. Right? Because the amygdala is our first way of creating memories as a child. And through smelling and through images, right? And so it remembers through feelings. The cortex wasn't developed to create concrete memories. Right? So that's one thing. Childhood. Right? Whenever you remind them of a certain neglect that this person had in the past, through you not giving a fuck, through you through you being inconsistent from time to time, which is what some neglectful parents do, and a lot of us were neglected as children, you pretty much activate that projection. And that activation of the projection is pretty much just an emotional remembrance which clouds the way you see this person. The next one is the dating history. Right? People with a history of rejection may sometimes subconsciously seek out similar scenarios, hoping that the story will have a different ending. And I remember this happened once where I was dating a girl. Long story short, she rejected me, and I pretty much started chasing after her because I met another girl who literally looked like her. Like, she literally looked like her. Like, it was like almost a spitting image of her. And as a result, I started chasing this person, literally because she reminded me of the ex that broke up with me. And the reason why you do that is that projection is activated two different ways. You behave similar to the ex, or you look similar to the ex. But the point is that you're gonna try to recreate the same scenario, but fix it this time. It's almost like if a dog dies, you have this hole in your heart, and as a result, you buy a dog that looks similar to the dog that died. Speaking of dogs, if you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one, get some coaching done. If you guys have an issue with when you're dating somebody and you want to talk to somebody to help you fix it, you guys can work with me one-on-one by clicking on the description down below where it says work with me. I have one-time coaching, I have email coaching, I have more affordable options, and also I have monthly coaching where, let's just say you met a guy and you want to make sure you get it right the first month. Perfect scenario for that. Or you're dating a guy and things that are a little rough because you're fucking it up or he's fucking it up, and you want assistance for at least 1 month. That's a person for me, right? It's called Coach in a Pocket, where you can literally message me at any moment in time if you have an issue with a dating problem, and I literally respond to you that day, right? So if you guys are interested in that, click on the description down below where it says work with me one-on-one. Right, so dating history, right? So most of the time, the people that hurt us are the ones that didn't care that much. And so by you not caring, you activate that projection in that person, or if you look like the person that didn't care, right? So that's one thing. Dating history will create that projection. And also the rejector, right? Another aspect of this anguish may have to do with the perceived value of the other person. So you not caring will naturally, or you not being available for this person will naturally increase your perceived value, right? Especially if you as a person have low self-esteem. If the other person who doesn't want us or is not available for a relationship, their perceived value goes up. They become so expensive that we cannot afford them per se. Evolutionarily speaking, it will have been an advantage to mate with the most valuable mate. So it makes sense that we become romantically interested when a person's perceived value increases. And one of the ways is for them just rejecting us, or them being in a relationship, or them being gay, like seriously, or having a barrier between you and the person. So it could be that this person is somebody else's boyfriend, or it could be that this person is a psychologist, or it could be that this person is a YouTuber. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's one thing, right? And the next way is that the reasons for people being affected by people who don't give a fuck about them is that they're trying to fix the past. There's a different ending explanation, right? Like they want to have a different ending. If we have a story of being rejected by a parent, for example, we sometimes subconsciously seek out a similar scenario, hoping that the story will have a different ending next time. It's pretty much you're just trying to fix your past. Right? You're trying to make sure you're trying to fix your past by dating people who remind you of somebody and hoping to win. It's almost like it's almost like playing a video game and you keep going to the boss level and the boss keeps beating you. So you keep going back and back and back until you beat them. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen, right? But this is what happens when you are unattached to somebody. You just spark a bunch of projections. And their brain literally takes over their rational mind. They become emotional. They start doing things they wouldn't do before. Heck, you even start to see them as pathetic because you say to yourself, why are you acting this way, right? You say to yourself, why would you let me treat you this way? And I can promise you, with somebody else that they feel that the relationship is more equal, they wouldn't act this way. They really wouldn't. They'll act more confident. You know what I'm saying? They'll act more. If you ask somebody that they feel that they don't care about, and you ask them, "Yo, how does he or she act?" They were like, "Oh, he's a confident person. Oh, he's a this or that." But then if somebody asks you about this person, they were like, "Oh, this guy's needy. This guy doesn't stop texting me." It's because you're pretty much regressing this person to their childhood to have them feel emotions they cannot control, and that's why you see in a certain part of their personality. So when you spark that projection in this needy individual, you're just gonna notice that they're just gonna start being more needy around you. They're gonna start texting you more, calling you more, wanting to get more of your attention, almost like a child behaves with a parent that isn't really giving them the attention they want, and they're desperate for their attention. Understand that a child's sense of desperation for attention is there because, evolutionarily speaking, if this child doesn't get attention from its mother, it's gonna die. In the fucking jungle, there wasn't child protective agency in the jungle. Like there wasn't fucking Melissa the social worker in the middle of the savannas. It wasn't there. It was fucking John the hyena fucking Bob the fucking the Wolverine, Simba the Lion, and all of them were gonna kill you. So that's why when you create that feeling of rejection through subtly not giving a fuck, especially if you mix it with mixed signals, which is fucking toxic, they just regress to a child. And you pretty much have this person in your hand now. Eventually, if you keep doing this, you will lose respect for this person. This person will secretly resent you, and they'll want to get revenge on you for making them feel so needy, right? And naturally, it doesn't really lead to a loving relationship if you keep doing this consistently, right? Because like I said, the person will resent you. The person will resent you. But this is why applying these strategies that I teach, this is why they work. Because it hits at the core of the reptilian brain, where they cannot control how they behave. And if you do it properly on guys that you like, along with some warmth and a little bit of pain, which is what this pretty much is, which is you're pretty much activating projections and unfulfilled needs, you have them in your hand. But again, you can't do too much of this, because if you do too much of this, it'll go too far and it'll ruin what could have been a good relationship. And that's why I say, man, don't stay with people who you don't care about, because you're pretty much traumatizing them. But if you care about somebody, learning how to show them that you don't give a fuck that much will create that effect. Right? So that's it, man. Let me know what you guys think of this video, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces. One is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you could read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so most likely I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you could pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. Oh, I'm closing the channel.